Dana Sohn with the National Park. We're excited because we are here for the wonderful Firefly Synchronized Fireflies, correct?
That's correct. We're glad you were able to make it.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us. Well, Dana, first of all, I want to say how wonderful this event is, and how long has the park been hosting this?
Well, we've been managing it since about 2006. Now, people have been enjoying fireflies in the Elkmont area for a much longer time period, whether if they were campers here or some of the former residents who knew that if they came the right time in May or June, they weren't sure exactly what they were seeing, but they knew the firefly show here was much different than what they saw in their backyards when they were at home. But by 2006, after we had clearly identified that we had this really special species, again, it's one of our 19 species of fireflies for the park, but the synchronous fireflies, and we started studying it, learning more about it, being able to really define that time period when they emerged and you could predict the peak, the popularity grew to the point where we now can only provide access to this area either by shuttle or parking reservation.
And that's to protect the species, correct?
You know, this area only has limited parking, enough for some trailhead parking, and then it's a campground. But thousands and thousands of people want to be up here this time of year to be able to experience it, and we simply can't accommodate that number of people on site. And so how we can safely provide access is a couple of different ways that we've been experimenting with, and one is by shuttling people here. And then the other, like we're doing tonight, is allowing a limited number of people with a parking reservation to drive directly on site.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we're glad that you guys are hosting this event. We are so blessed to have this event and learn a lot about the species. Now, the species that we're looking for, I understand this, right? 19 different species, but we're looking for a specific one.
Yeah, this is Photinus carolinus.
Okay.
And it's a synchronous firefly. It doesn't have any other kind of a common name for us. And you're gonna know that it's different because the male fireflies, they're the only ones that are flying and flashing. And about 9:30 tonight, they will slowly start their flashing patterns as individuals. And after about half an hour, it will become synchronized. And so what becomes synchronized is the flashing time period itself. And so they'll blink for about 5 seconds, and then they'll all stop together. And then it'll be pitch dark for about 8 seconds, and then they'll all start again for about 5 seconds, and then they'll stop again. And that pattern repeats throughout the night. And during that period of darkness, the female firefly, who's flightless and on the forest floor, will emit a very faint double flash back that is so faint we really can't detect it with our eyes, but the male fireflies can detect it. And again, we think during that period of darkness, it allows them a better chance of detecting that very low level light. And that may be why they've evolved into this pattern of synchronicity, because if you have a lot of lights flashing all at the same time, it's harder to detect faint light.
Wonderful. That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, we know that not everybody got to do this. So what would 3 things be that you would advise folks that if they don't make it here and they find another moisture-rich area in the park that they could look for? What would you say the 3 things you advise them to do to get a good look at these species?
And synchronous fireflies, this particular species can be found in southern Appalachia all the way from Georgia up into Pennsylvania. So more and more people are discovering pockets that they have that they maybe didn't know about, or that as the forest community matures in that area, that they're finding that their densities are coming back to where they're detectable. They are affected by things like light pollution. So the first thing that we remind people when they're on site, whether you're inside or outside of the park, is to make sure that you're using minimal light sources. You're only using a light source to get you to your viewing location, and then you're turning off all your light sources. And even walking to and from your viewing location, cover that light source up with a red cellophane bag or have the red setting on your flashlight, because that's less disruptive to the fireflies. But as soon as you have that white light, it disrupts their flashing pattern, and they will not flash for at least 10 minutes, and sometimes it takes them even longer to get that pattern going again. So make sure you're protecting the night sky for the fireflies. The second thing I remind people is, because those females are flightless, they're always in the forest floor, it's very important to stay on hardened, durable surfaces where the fireflies are not, because we certainly don't want to trample the fireflies, and we also don't want to disturb that habitat after they've emerged from the soil. So we just remind people to stay on a trail, stay on a road, and be able to enjoy the show from there.
Wonderful. Well, we are so glad that Dana got to meet with us, and we're so glad we get to experience this. Folks, if you get a chance, go out in your backyard if you have to, and enjoy these species, because they're very important to our environment, and just go and enjoy God's country. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.